Talks brought to you by Sailing in the Desert. If you guys are not familiar with this series, this is pretty much where I interview different friends and colleagues that are in niche industries in the entertainment industry. So I'm going to link that playlist up here for you guys to check out. Make sure you guys go ahead and see that. And today, it is kind of a special day because we haven't done a Tea Talks in a little bit, but we're bringing to you the Vegas showgirl, Kelly O.
Hi guys, hi. Thanks for having me, Destiny.
Oh, thank you for being here. So I'm going to have her just kind of introduce herself and talk a little bit about what she does.
Hi, so my name is Kelly O. I've been a Las Vegas showgirl for 10 years. I've been in several shows on Las Vegas Strip. Basically anything you can imagine, from magic shows to giant showgirl spectaculars and everything in between, and all the gigs and nightclubs you can imagine. And I just started my YouTube channel basically talking about that and my experiences as a showgirl and a dancer here in Las Vegas.
Cool. Okay, so this is the first time we have a showgirl on the channel, and I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are interested in you know, being a professional dancer, getting into the entertainment industry, whether that be dance, whether that be cabaret, whether that be modeling. And so I definitely wanted to give you guys this perspective because I feel like this perspective, you know, you don't really hear about it too often, kind of like the lifestyle of a showgirl, what that entails physically, emotionally. You know, there definitely is a lot of training that goes into it. It's not just, oh, you're pretty. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that today, kind of pick her brain and give you guys some actionable tips that you guys can use if you guys decide to go into this industry. So tell me a little bit about your transition, because you started off as a professional ballet dancer in New York, which is super cool, but obviously it's very different.
New Jersey, I have to clarify.
Oh, New Jersey, okay.
Brooklyn, but the company I worked with was in New Jersey. Yeah, but yes, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those two industries are very, very different. So kind of talk about your background as a professional dancer, you kind of getting into ballet. Like, what did that really look like for you, and then that transition, you coming out this way?
That is a great question. So yeah, I grew up in ballet. I was a hardcore bunhead, as we call it in the dance world, and I just absolutely loved ballet. It was my passion. It was unfortunately really the only form of dance that I studied intensely, and if I could go back in time, I would definitely change that and like focus my attention on making sure I got a more well-rounded dance career. So if you're still in training, like definitely focus on that. So yeah, I was a struggling ballet dancer because I'm 5'9". I'm a little bit on the curvy side for a ballet dancer. I often had a lot of injuries. I wasn't really good enough to make it into like the top ballet companies. So the companies I was working with were paying me very little. I don't come from a wealthy family. I didn't have a rich husband. I was just really struggling to get by. So over the years, people had told me, you know, there's this show in Vegas and they like tall ballet dancers. Like they like to hire tall ballet dancers. Oh, that's
interesting.
And I was like super intrigued by that, and basically went to an audition in New York for the show Jubilee and got hired. Moved here, thought I'd be here 6 months and go back to the ballet company, but I just completely fell in love with it, and been here 10 years now.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So, I mean, as many of you guys know who are dancers, many of us kind of studied ballet. I'm way, way, way too short to even think about doing it professionally. I'm 5'2", so that was definitely something I was trying to kind of stray away from as I got older. So, I mean, as you can see, like, depending on your body, you know, type, your height, or whatever, there's always something in the industry that is different, that might be looking for what you have. So kind of talk a little bit about that, because as you mentioned, you know, obviously ballet has very, very rigid standards. They want, you know, wafer thin, tall. And then also, one thing that you mentioned in a previous video of yours was that, you know, in Vegas, it's not just all tall showgirls. You know, different productions like, you know, different body types, or sometimes shorter or sometimes taller. It kind of depends. So talk a little bit about that.
That is also a great question. So actually, I would say for ballet, they actually don't prefer super tall. So I was actually really on the tall end because it makes you more difficult to partner. Really, the ideal height for ballet dancers is up to like 5'6" is kind of the cap.
Interesting.
They do like, there are tall ballet dancers. I'm not saying if you are tall and you're a ballet dancer, I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just saying that it's not, you don't see it as often.
Right.
The super tall. So, but there was, anyway, it used to be a home for us here in Las Vegas at Jubilee, so a lot of the taller ballet dancers that maybe didn't fit in the ballet world would end up here.
Right.
Yes, that was, for me, I was actually one of the shortest people in that show. That was a 5'8" and up show. So if you can believe that, I was in what was called the short line. And I was working with girls who are 6 feet tall, and you know that was that show. But like you said, there are other shows where I might be too tall, or the cap is 5'6", or they have a lot of partnering, and maybe the guys aren't too tall, so they want to make sure the women are a little bit shorter. Like, definitely, I've seen in Las Vegas and in other industries, but this is the industry I know the most. I have seen so many different dancers of all different heights be successful. So if you're under 5'8", you're probably not going to be like in a showgirl show. Not that there aren't even any showgirl shows left anymore, but that's not something you're probably going to book. But that doesn't mean there aren't plenty of other dance jobs or other things you can do, for sure. Right.
Now, one thing that I know the viewers probably want to know from you personally is, what does your day look like as far as training? Because obviously in ballet, you know, when you're not on stage, you spend a lot of time going to studios, working on technique. So as a showgirl, what does that look like for you? Is that like more yoga, Pilates? Is that taking jazz classes? What does that look like?
Yeah. So as you might have noticed, I have braces. So I'm actually not performing right now because you can't really have braces on stage. But when I was performing, my personal favorite thing to do for cross training is yoga and Pilates, and specifically hot yoga and hot Pilates. And I actually taught both of those modalities shortly here in Las Vegas for about a year. For me, like the heat, and after I had transitioned away from being a ballet dancer, I don't have a lot of turnout in my hips, if you're a dancer and you know what that is. And, trying and learning to dance in heels, like I do most of the time in Las Vegas, it was like a different thing that my body had to learn how to do. So for me, taking ballet class, once I had decided I was no longer going to be a ballet dancer, was actually, for me, and not for everybody, was a little bit detrimental, because it was basically just hurting my hips and counterintuitive for what I was trying to do in my work. So like here in Las Vegas, I know they have this in LA too. There's like heels classes and things where you can work on
so many great heels classes.
Yeah.
They're so
and
cool.
I think it's something that's taken off in the last like 5 or 10 years, but it
definitely.
Really important. If you want to do music videos, like everything is in heels pretty much usually.
Oh yeah, totally.
So it's a really important skill, right? Like, would you agree, to be able to dance?
Oh my gosh. I mean, right now in LA we have one of the ladies who used to dance and do tours a lot with Beyonce. I think her name is Aisha Francis. But she teaches tons of heels classes here. We have them like all over North Hollywood area, but they're so fun, but they are definitely difficult. Definitely.
Yeah. It takes getting used to. And when I moved here, I had never danced in heels in my life, and I was just like thrown into the show of trying to dress in heels, and it was a learning curve for sure. But then you get used to it, and it's like, well, I don't feel sexy if I'm not wearing heels.
Right.
I don't want to do it.
You're like, I need my stilettos. I need the stilettos.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Okay, I wanted to jump over and ask one of our fandom questions. So let me jump over to Facebook. So one of the questions is, do I have to sign a contract? If so, for how long? And what are the restrictions within a contract?
Ooh, that's a good question. So here in Las Vegas, I can't speak to LA or New York, but in Las Vegas, that is a show-by-show basis.
Right.
So a lot of shows do 6-month contracts. Some shows even do a year contract, but a lot of shows don't do any contracts at all.
Interesting.
And it kind of just depends. Like some of the shows that I've been in are actually run by the star of the show. So, for example, they will star in their own show, they will produce their own show, they will hire their own dancers, they will hire their band, they will hire their backup singers, whatever. And in those situations, I've never signed a contract, because it's kind of almost like working for a family business or a small business, and it's just like, you know, based on trust and your relationships. But definitely if you're doing like a big show that is owned by a bigger company, and maybe has a lot, like a huge cast, like pretty much you're gonna see at least a 6-month contract. Yeah.
Just because there's so much involved.
Was there another part to that question, or was it just, will I have to sign a contract? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then usually like for how long? So you answered kind of like that question of like the 6 months to 12 months, and then sometimes not.
Yeah.
So
usually 6 months, and then or not at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one thing that I found with music videos is that, you know, a lot of the ones that don't pay, you still kind of have to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So did you guys, or did you have to do a lot of that even on gigs that were kind of like a little bit more flexible, you know, not on a contract, but you still kind of had to sign an NDA?
I've signed a lot of NDAs.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate, because there's a lot of stuff I wish I could talk about.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I haven't had to sign NDAs just working on random shows, but pretty much any celebrity I've worked with, or even you know, partial celebrities or people that you've probably never heard of, but
right.
still have NDA just
that they
in
still
case,
want you to sign it just in case something goes down.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, also with it being Vegas, you know, people are having fun. You know, the shows are a little bit more on the adult side, and so it's just like they're like, we just want to make sure everything's copacetic before we move forward.
Yeah, I think it's more because they don't want you to talk badly about them. Like, I think that's definitely come back to bit some people in the butt. Like, they maybe don't treat people very well, and then you know, or if you're in a magic show, they don't want you to say what the tricks are and that sort of thing.
Right.
So.
Which is interesting because I mean, we actually had somebody on this channel for Tea Talk that actually talked about being a magician's assistant and kind of the non-disclosure agreements that she had signed. So I'm going to link that up here for you guys to check out if you're interested. That's definitely another niche industry as well. But let's jump back over to Facebook and see what other questions they have. What kind of strings would I have to... Okay, I think this person kind of had a little bit of a confusing question. I think they're kind of asking, oh, this person too, how many shows would I have to do? Do I get family friend like perks? So I guess they're kind of asking, like, once you've been in the industry for a while, like, what kind of perks do you get? What kind of perks do they have? You know, what kind of strings do you pull? Do you get into certain clubs, you know, for free and early, or, you know?
Again, everything pretty much depends on, it's a case-by-case, show-by-show basis.
Right.
So
Right.
some shows, yeah, your job comes with a certain number of comp tickets or complimentary tickets. Like, you get 2 a week or 2 a month or whatever it is, and then
that's cool.
Some don't have any benefits at all. So, and sometimes that also depends on the casino that the show is in. Like, they weren't able to work out an agreement with that casino in order to get comps. Definitely, I've been, you know, with a group of showgirls from the show, and we get free tables at the club and that sort of thing. That's
cool.
Not something that I'm interested in doing anymore, but when I moved here in my early 20s, that was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot.
But that pretty much, if you have a group of girls, doesn't matter if you're showgirls or whatever, pretty much you get a lot of free stuff. So there's that, but it's definitely not like it used to be. So the show Jubilee that I was in opened in the early 80s, and so I heard lots of stories from my boss and other people that worked there back in the day about, like, the mob Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
And it was apparently insane. Like, everything was free. They were just giving you drinks and
just throwing stuff at you, like...
Yeah, not like that anymore. But if you want to go to the club for free, sure, you can do that.
Right. It's like a little bit more professional. They're like, okay, here's your 1 or 2 comp tickets. You know, you get 1 or 2 drinks maybe. Here's your food. You know, maybe you have crafty, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know any shows that give free drinks, but that would be nice.
Right.
I wish.
Let me jump back over and see what other questions we have. So our last question is like, what does the day-to-day look like for you? Is it like mostly just auditions and then just gigs at night? Is it, you know, a lot of prep work? Is it fittings? Like, what does that look like for you?
That is a great question. And again, I'll answer this as if I were still performing, which I am not at the moment. But it typically looks like, so you have to remember, if you're in shows and you're working gigs, you're usually working at night.
Right,
so that's
exactly.
your whole day over. So if you're working until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to get up at 8 a.m.
No.
So
night owls.
I know I go up to like 10 or 11, sometimes even noon if I've had a really late night. Which I think people think is shocking, but really it's just you're working late. So
absolutely.
Your days are different. So wake up late and then just have a normal morning, whatever that is for you. Drink your coffee, do your journaling, do your thing. If there's time, you can fit in a gym, but a lot of times I would work out or start warming up whenever I got to the theater. So get to the theater, do your makeup, put on some sort of warm-up clothes, and just start doing your own warm-up, usually. Most shows that I've been in don't have like any sort of class or included warm-up in your routine. It's something that you have to do on your own.
Right.
Whatever that is for you. And
so they kind of expect you to show up and be ready, kind of thing?
Sorry, what was that?
So they kind of expect you to just show up and be ready to perform? Like there's no like group warm-up or anything? Oh, wow. Okay.
It's very much on you, the individual, and sometimes you're even working as an independent contractor, 1099. So
yeah,
it's a lot of like, the only show actually that I've ever worked at that had like specific times was Jubilee, because they had such a huge cast. They were more like management, like you have to have your makeup done by this time.
Oh yeah.
There's mandatory warm up, but every other show I've done, even equity shows and whatever, they just be in the theater by this time. That's your call time, and then warm up on your own, do your own makeup, do your own hair. You're just expected to be ready. So of course, if you have a fitting, it's usually done before the show. They don't happen that often because all of that's done as you're coming into a show and learning the choreography. And then after you're in the show, it's just going to be little adjustments here and there. Generally, there's not a lot of fittings. And again, you're fitting in your Pilates classes or your yoga into your schedule as you see fit, but you have all day to do that, so that's awesome. And then for me, I've worked at a lot of nightclubs over the years. I also, when I first moved to town, I was doing Jubilee until midnight, and then I would drive across the street to the Rio, and we had singing and dancing cocktail waitresses there.
My
so I was the dancing cocktail waitress from 1 a.m. to 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I would sleep and get up and do it all over again. And that was, I don't do that anymore. But so if you have a gig after work, so say you're going to a nightclub, usually you have to run right over there right after your show.
Right.
And you're just, you just did a bunch of costumes and makeup. You're getting over there, you're putting on different costumes, you're fixing up your makeup. And
it's a full night shift.
It's a lot. It takes a lot of energy because it's also like such a high impact, high energy environment to be in. With loud, but it's really fun, and you get to dance for a living. So
I mean, oh gosh, I mean, and even like me thinking about your prep work as far as like makeup and costumes and stuff like that. Like, talk a little bit about that. Like, what are fittings like? In your line of work, what does that look like? Is it maybe an hour with a seamstress? Is it like custom outfits that are made specifically to you? Or is it kind of like a range of things? Because you have a lot of cool costumes. If you guys have not seen her Instagram, I'm going to put it right here for you guys to check out. Go and follow her, but she has tons of cool costumes on there.
Thank you. Yes. So again, it depends by the show. So Jubilee, that show was actually costumed by the incredible Bob Mackie, who you guys have probably heard of. He's done a lot of costumes for Cher and a lot of amazing celebrities.
I love her.
Bob Mackie and this another designer named Pete Menefee did all of the costumes for Jubilee. So my very first show, I was wearing $10,000 Bob Mackie costumes. It was crazy. Not all shows are like that, and that show closed in 2016.
Right.
But most shows don't have that kind of a budget for costumes, but anywhere from beautiful design costumes to something that somebody bought off the rack. Like, it really depends. But yeah, the fitting, same thing. Like the Jubilee fittings were a lot more intense because it was a whole thing.
It was built for you. That's cool.
And usually you don't get your own costume. Usually you're coming into a show where the costume's already there, and they're just fitting it to you. And if it's something that they can't make an adjustment, then they'll go out and buy what they need to do. Yeah.
That's really
cool. I had to wear other people's shoes before, which was not too fun, but they try to save money. So.
Oh, I love that. I mean, when I was working in fashion, there'd be a few times here or there where we would get the chance to make some really cool costumes for showgirls, and they were always like so elaborate, so detailed, tons of rhinestones, tons of feathers, tons of like lame, and it's just... like they were just gorgeous, but they are definitely time-consuming outfits. And I mean, it probably took you a minute to get into them.
They're a lot in every way.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, my last question of the day for you is, so obviously, with the tons of tourists that come and go to Vegas, sometimes you deal with a little bit of crazy customers who maybe just had a little too much to drink. How do you deal with that? Are there bodyguards on the side of the stage that kind of shelter you guys kind of away from the audience at the end of shows? I mean, are you required to go and take pictures with them, and then if they get a little too handsy, they kind of move them away? How does that work, and how would a newcomer kind of deal with that?
That is another really great question. So yeah, again, it's show by show, but I've never been in a situation where I was uncomfortable or there was nobody there to help. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think definitely we're on stage, they're in the audience, they're not allowed to get up on the stage, so you're not interacting in that way.
That's
good. They would definitely be freaked out.
Right.
And then some shows I've done, there is like a meet and greet after the show where you go out and you leave, like there's like a step and repeat, and you stand in a line and take photos.
Right.
But again, there is always security. It's usually the hotel security or the casino security. And
that's good.
People are usually fine, and every once in a while you'll have a drunk person, but they just, take care of it right away. And it's not something that you have to personally deal with. There's always somebody there. And sometimes you're not even doing meet and greet. Like, it's just you do your job on the stage and you go home and you never meet anyone in the audience. And sometimes it's like that.
That's cool. And I feel like that is something that's definitely original from some of the other kind of entertainment industry things that you might do, like whether you're on the set of music videos or things like that, where it's like people try to get a little too fresh with you, and you're just kind of like, okay, well, there's nobody here to help. So that's great that they kind of have that set in place. You can go do you, dance, perform, and then just kind of go home. So that's great.
Yeah, it's the same in nightclubs too. So if you're go-go dancing at a nightclub, like lots of times you're out of reach of the people anyway, but even if they can't get to you, like there's always security. And they're almost always really awesome people. And if you just tell them, this guy's making me uncomfortable, they got you always. Like, it's really nice. Yeah,
that's one thing that I have been a little bit more familiar with is I have done a few go-going gigs. And it was kind of like, okay, you're done in this little corner on the stage. Just go backstage. You can go relax, eat, you know, whatever until your next set. So, you know, I really didn't have to deal with anybody. I was kind of in my own little corner, which was nice. But yeah, can you just talk about any future projects you might have coming up and where they can find you on social media?
Yes, so I just released a video, especially this is great for this audience if this has a lot of aspiring dancers or people that are thinking of moving to Vegas. I just released a video that is all of my advice for aspiring Vegas dancers and Vegas showgirls. So definitely check that out. And you can find me on Instagram. It's callme_Kelly_O. And yeah, that's pretty much it for social media. And my YouTube is just Kelly O. I'd love to see you over there. And
yes. We'll link it below and we'll link it up here for you guys to check out. Make sure you guys go and check out her channel. She has a lot of great content on there. Her videos are a lot more detailed on this subject. So if you want to learn a little bit more, if you have questions for her, you can go over there and check her out and ask them there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe and like this video if you want to see more. I'll be posting more as usual. Make sure to do well and be well, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.